Commission meeting of Tuesday, January 23rd. It is 5:06. Apologize for getting started a little late. Invocation. Adrian, would you like to do that for us? Good at it.
I'll try.
Okay. Can you stand, please?
Lord, we ask for wisdom while here doing the people's work, and that we can do the best that we can with the resources that we have with your guidance. Please help alleviate the pain and suffering that's going on in this world, especially in far-off lands like the Middle East and the Ukraine, but also don't forget about the pain and suffering that's happening right here at home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico and the symbol of the Christian.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Present.
Vice Chair Secretary, Commissioner Duggett, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Here.
and Chair Martinez.
Present, ma'am. Next item is approval of agenda. Commissioners, I was asked by one of our commissioners if we could move under action items A and B right after we approve the agenda. Is that okay with you guys? Sure. Sure. Okay. Motion, I need a motion to move these two items. So move. Second. Motion by Commissioner Aguilar, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those two items will be moved up with approval of the agenda. Okay, the next item would be review and direction to staff regarding information presented by Donna Harris regarding county roads. You're up, Ms. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. My name is Donna Harris, and I am here on behalf of the taxpayers of Socorro County in regards to the generally unpaved roads in Socorro County, specifically at this time to the Quebradas Backcountry Byway and the Pueblitos roads, which are located east of the Rio Grande River. The Quebradas Road is both a state and a national scenic byway. For this reason, the county gets PIP money annually to take care of the roads. The BLM also makes available over $20 million a year in federal grant money, specifically for byway maintenance in the U.S. with an 80-20 price split. There are 184 of these roads in the U.S. Since the excuse is always money, are you annually applying for this through the state? If not, why not? I have here in my hand a little blurb regarding road maintenance from the manager's office that says, the commission bases its decision on maintenance of the roads due to high usage, high area population, types of traffic, and budgetary constraints. So far, so good. Now, who tells the you commissioners the specifics? Do you travel any of the roads? Do you get information from the road supervisor? Do you get information from the state and BLM as regards use and money? Are you getting facts from someone's skewed account? Are you really informed? Or do your local aides and bureaucrats just tell you what they want you to hear? Are you being conned, or are you being fed tall tales, or you're getting the truth? Are you better than our elected officials in Washington, D.C.? I'd like to think you're better. In Washington, D.C., we have lawmakers who rely on bureaucrats and aides for the information that they depend upon when making decisions. For example, bureaucrats tell our representatives that we'll donate, or that if we would just train our cattle guards better, we would only need half as many. And outrageous things like water trapping wild horses and cattle involve drowning them. Anyone with two brains together to rub together knows these are ridiculous falsehoods. We out here in the Wild West also know that these helpers have something to personally gain by telling these lies. Like the simple fact that the wolves were reintroduced to make ranching inevitably extinct, to further the publicly, politically motivated, clearly stated goals of the UN Agenda 2030. And still our US reps ignore us and vote like the helpers want them to. Now, do you suppose our local bureaucrats have something to gain by lying to you about the fact that the BLM brochure and map that I provided along with my request is not in your folder? Right there it is, a lie, along with the previous lie that you don't have public comments. How many other people's documentation requests or questions are altered or erased before you see it? About the fact that our bureaucrats have attempted to intimidate the local newspaper and try to dictate what should not be printed? Who else actually has been intimidated? I am the only ranch on the northwest end of the Quebradas that is permanently occupied home. Jake Chavez, my nearest neighbor, divides his time between his ranch and his farm, and he drives the roads every day, sometimes twice a day when he is not in residence at the ranch. The Four Hills Ranch, which is between me and the river, is owned and maintained by owners on a twice weekly basis. There is a tech-owned ranch not far past my place with tech students and teachers who think it's swell to drive BMWs and Mercedes out there for classes. These ranches are all off-grid. There are no services. The road has been maintained well for the last 70 years or so that I am aware of. It was well maintained when I moved there 14 years ago, and it continued to be maintained until about 4 years ago. It was never a problem to call in and have something fixed when there was a bad washout. Time flies, but I believe it was 5 years ago that the BLM spent $250,000 to make it an all-weather road with the understanding that the county would maintain it because after all, it is a county road. Well, after all that money and work, the county stopped doing anything that could be called maintenance and just knocked 1 inch off the top of the 4-inch washboard once a year and called it a day. This is the equivalent of washing your car once a day and calling it fully maintained. The washouts and ditches are not taken care of at all. Washouts are getting worse and worse every year. Right now, 2 days after the grader has come through, you wouldn't even know it, except that the arroyos are the only thing that shows any improvement. When I called the road department this year after the summer rains were over, I told them the bottom 2 miles were washed out horribly with hundreds of baseball and melon-sized rocks on the road, and their windows were washed out. I was told no one would be coming because the manager's office told them not to fix any roads and they would be out next spring for the annual grading. The standard answer from anyone with the road department is, quote, Hawks told us no, unquote. This backcountry byway that the state and fed support is intentionally left with 7 holes across the road, an abundance of dangerous rocks, and 3 bad arroyos in the first 2 miles of the road for what would have been 8 or 9 months of the year. The 7 holes in the road were approximately 10 inches deep and 12 to 16 inches across. That is all I asked from the road department to be fixed, the first 2 miles in the arroyos, specifically Las Cañas Arroyo, and was told, no, we're not allowed. The Socorro County website clearly states that road problems should be referred to the road department. So why are we paying a secretary and a road supervisor to collect a list of problems when the manager's office has usurped their authority and tells them not to fix the road regardless of condition? Our tax money is being wasted here. Either which way you go, it's still being wasted. Las Cañas is about halfway at the 12-mile mark. It is an extremely deep canyon that is very narrow and very steep. It washes out in nearly every rain, and it is very close to Jake's headquarters. Now, this is the real problem. There is no cell service on the Quebradas Road. I have lived there 14 years without cell service. Neither Verizon nor T-Mobile are sufficient, even though they claim differently. I know this because I had one for several years and then the other one for several more. They do not have service except on occasion in random spots. If I need to talk to someone, I get in my truck, brave 3 miles of westbound washboard, make a phone call, and then drive back home. Google tells people they take 30 miles if they take this byway. Google does not tell them that they need high clearance 4x4 vehicles, and if they get stuck, they can walk 8 miles to get cell service to call a record. Google does not tell them that places to turn around are few and far between, even if they're a good driver. Google does not tell them that chances of flat tires are very high, especially in cars with 4-ply tires. It does not tell them that snap tie rods, moving mufflers, tailpipes, cowlings, and getting stuck are common. Google does not tell them that it will take a lot longer than staying on the pavement in the first place. Jake and I are tired of providing prerequisites to these people. They cannot call for help because there is no cell phone. I don't want help. He doesn't want help. They're rude, ungrateful, and belligerent. They're foul-mouthed and threatening. One jerk even kicked my old dog who was sitting watching while I was changing their tire on my private property. Jake and I are busy, and we are not young, and we are not insured for that. But we cannot in good conscience leave them stranded there. We can't have them traipsing around through bull pastures and dodging rattlesnakes. This is dangerous and a terrible liability. I am 71 years old, and Jake is not far behind. We are not set up for this. Why are you making it our responsibility to crawl around under cars and through the mud and endanger our lives and risk our equipment because you refuse to take care of the roads? We pay our taxes. We are entitled to road service. It's pretty much the only service we get for our taxes, except we're not getting it. Commissioner Duggan, you said you didn't think I should be fixing the road with my equipment. I couldn't agree more, because I know Socorro County is not going to pay for my time, my fuel, or the repair bill if something happens to my equipment. But I would also like to use the road, and I don't want to help stranded idiots if at all possible. So in my own defense, in hopes that no one will get stuck that I have to help, to save Jake and my own equipment, I fixed the arroyos near me anyway, and I have done so for the last 12 years. I'm not getting a choice. Your decision to not take care of the road has cost me over $2,000 this last fall in repairs that should not have been necessary. If you think dropping whole wheels into 11-inch holes and hauling loaded trailers across long stretches of sand so deep that the axles drag, no matter how slowly and carefully one goes, is good for equipment, it is foolish. The vibrations of driving on deep washboard surfaces, mile after mile after mile, cause a lot of damage to pressurized fuel lines and suspension components. It feels as though you could vibrate off the road and into the ditch or off a cliff at any time. Our feed suppliers cringe when we call for a lower feed. Since wheels have little traction on washboard roads, it would be good to have an open range or watch for cattle sign as well, as folks who see the cattle crossing the roads cannot stop because they have no traction on the road. And that's when they hit and kill the cattle. The last cow that was hit out there was right in the middle of one of the worst washboard spots on this end of the road. It looked like they tried to stop, but they were unsuccessful. So, fix it. If you keep it fixed, it doesn't get like it is. If you maintain it, you don't have to spend $1 million to fix it again. If you put up a sign that tells the truth, like minimum maintenance, travel at your own risk, no cell service, because no matter how good the road is or could ever be, it will never be a place for luxury sedans and sports cars. Stop telling the DOT that you are maintaining the road unless you are really going to do it. I hear comments from folks who drive on all the county dirt roads, and they are all poorly maintained. The deputy sheriff, the brand inspectors, delivery drivers, they tell me all the county roads are like that. Fortunately, I only have to drive on that one. FedEx used to deliver to my house until about 3.5 years ago. They got a flat, and the next time they got stuck, and they were down below, so they were able to call a wrecker. They refused to come up. All my packages are delivered to a city address or returned, which means that I have to drive the bad road twice to get the packages that I already paid to have delivered. Last Wednesday, I met a BLM grader on the Quebradas Road and stopped to talk. He was working on the road. He said the county grader had just gone by, but, quote, had done a crappy job as usual, unquote, and that he was working on the turnout and the ditches before he left the area. Just wondering, why do you hire grader drivers that do not know water runs downhill? There are wide arroyos crossing the Pueblitos and the other roads. Why would anybody make a dam 2 feet high across the downhill side of an arroyo? Then the water takes out a whole mile of road first before going onto the river. This is May's work. This is another waste of our taxpayer money. Carol's not here, is she? A couple of people want to say something, but this is so early that they're not here. Isn't it amazing that as soon as I was informed that I was placed on the agenda, the road department found time to grade the Quebradas Road? Wow, 3 months ahead of schedule. Commissioner Duggan, you mentioned to me about the corruption in Socorro County. It seems to me that you and the other commissioners have your work cut out for you. Since you have a new interim manager, whom I don't see here, it would seem to be a good time to make some corrections and adjustments. or eliminate the people who are working to elevate their own positions for power and financial gain and who are not working in the best interest of the Socorro County taxpayers. We, the taxpayers, put our trust and our belief in you guys. You five guys have the power. Do you have the intestinal fortitude, the guts, and the will to use the power? Will you use it to make Socorro County a better place, or will you sit back and watch? This is the map that was excluded. I don't know why it had to be excluded, but it was.
Thank you.
You can let
I found this lovely little sign. And it would be just the perfect thing. I only have one copy. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Harris, with all due respect, for myself, I've been a commissioner for 7 years. And in those 7 years, I have never been lied to by any county employee. When I ask a question, they tell me the truth. Same way with the manager. And we try to do our best. We got limited sources. I'm not making excuses, but I think if we work together like this, I've never, and I know the commissioners go visit the roads. When they're called out, they go. I go to all the roads in my area. When I get called by someone, I go out there to check it,
I'm glad to hear
to
this.
see for myself. And I make my recommendations to the manager, and then from there it goes. But to me, our manager has always been, tell us the truth. He's never lied to us. He's gotten more money for the county than any other manager has in a long years. We've done a lot more. We're still not completely there, but we're doing the best we can. Like this. This is a good idea. I'm glad you brought it to the attention. I've never been on this road, but if it's that bad, then you're right. We need to give the public notice that, like the forest, you go to a Forest Service road, it's not maintained, so you travel at your own risk. And by you helping those people, as far as I'm concerned, I thank you for that, because everybody needs help once in a while, you know. I think this will help. I think this will help. Your concern is for us to do a better job on that road, correct?
Because it's being advertised throughout the United States as this great scenic byway.
Okay,
And Jake and I are stuck with this. We don't want to do this. We're old.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
Let me,
Yeah.
do you have anything to say, Mike? You or Adrian?
Thank you, Chairman Martinez, Commissioners. Art's here from the road department. He has firsthand knowledge, but I can tell you that Cabrales is not a county road. We have an agreement from 1982 that will grade it once a year, but that's the magnitude of it. They haven't paid us in for over 5 years for even doing that. There's two other roads that I think Ms. Harris had talked about in her complaint earlier or later in 2023. I think it was Shortcut and some other road. They escaped my memory at this time, but those also are not county roads. We have an agreement that will blade them only because BLM will not let us do anything else. We've asked. It takes an extensive amount of work to try to convince BLM, as we've witnessed with every project we have with BLM. It's an uphill battle to do anything. Case in point is the floods control system in San Antonio. Our last phase is all based on BLM authorizing the sale, and that I've been working on for 5 years. And BLM's had it for 5 years, and the money runs out in November. So that's just an example or analysis of how hard it is to work with BLM, and it's a federal agency. I'm not making excuses, but I'm laying out the facts as I've experienced. And I believe Art might want to say some things to address this as well.
Arthur?
We were out there this week now, but they only pay us to pay those roads once a year.
And they don't pay.
And they haven't paid us in the last 5 years when Mike brought it to their attention that we haven't gotten paid.
So are you applying for all that 20 million, some of that 20 million grant money that they have available every year?
Well, that's what they tell us. They tell us the federal government that they can't be spending that on maintenance. They got other projects going on that's more important than some backcountry roads are.
Well, if that's all true, then put up a big sign on both ends and tell them it's closed to through traffic. Because that would cure that.
So we
I got a maintenance list of how many times we did it last year, and we did it out of Mike, says, well, we'll do it out of courtesy, just because people travel that road quite a bit. And we have been maintaining that road, and Dave calls us quite a bit, and we go out there, and I send off to Montoya. But I sent a guy out there this week, and he was covering up that bar ditch. So I went out there and I told him, let's get this done right. I said, you cannot keep covering that bar ditch. And like Miss Sarah said, he was taking out the turnups going uphill. I said, you don't take them uphill, you cut them downhill. I said, you don't do that. I said, because the water's just going to be running back down. And I said, this flat blading, I told him, you can't be flat blading on these roads. I said, because if you're going to be flat blading on these roads, it's just going to turn into a royal when you get a big rain. And it's going to wash out that road. And we only have 4 graders running for 1,400 miles of road. And I come down pretty much all over the county. I only got 1 grader up north. I got 1 grader down south, and I got 1 to the east and 1 to the west. And sometimes I have to ask the guy from the west to come all the way down to Bernardo, and that's not his area to come and wait it, because we're just taking care of the ones up in the east. And then have the guy from the east come down all the way to 127, 129. You can take care of that area. We just don't have enough people that can operate. People these days just don't want to work.
Is that not County Road 127?
127, yes, son?
That's the Cape Brothers Road, yes?
No. 152 is it?
A County Road 152.
No, that's we're maintaining. We just have to maintain it.
I haven't gone down that other end in years.
Yeah.
But it seems to me there's a big sign down there that says County Road 127. That is incorrect?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Well-
and I stand corrected.
Well, it comes to my memory, that road over there by Riley, that BLM road, that they won't let us fix it. The road is almost completely gone. We're still working with them because the public approached us on it. The road is almost gone, but they will not let us work it. And that's a BLM road. I feel you need to still continue like everybody else, every citizen, continue to follow the process, call the road department or call the manager when you need help or the road is messed up. Mike, can you give her a copy of that agreement? The one that's 19 something?
1980. I think it was 1982. Myself and Virginia Alguire had made plans to meet, and then she's been out of pocket and I've been out of pocket. I ran into her the other day and asked her some questions. So we'll get that. I don't know if you want a copy of it, but it says we'll blade it. That's it. It doesn't say, and we can't even put up signs. When we put up signs, we have to really, really beg them to even do that. And then even when we say we'll pay for it.
Yeah, because they'll have to, if they want us to make improvements, they should pay us to make improvements to that road. We put the culverts in for them and everything. But, they've been short of money and they haven't contacted us out. They just laid the road and don't have any improvements or anything. We can't add improvements to that road without their permission.
Well, Ms. Harris, Mike will provide you a copy of that paper. And then when they meet, we'll see what comes out of that meeting and they'll let you know what comes out of it.
That'll be
But
fine.
you can call the BLM too, what you heard here.
I called them, they were gonna be here, but they didn't, I was way down on the agenda, so they're not here. That's all. They were gonna be here, but, you know, they didn't get done until 5 o'clock, so. Oh, now we're done and they are not here, so, but it's fine. They're not gonna tell you anything I didn't already tell you anyway, I don't think, but I would have liked to have had him here because they told me when I called over there that they were very unhappy, so I don't know what the deal is because it's not up to me. I'm not in on that, on either end. But I just know that Jake and I are really tired of having to crawl around in the dirt and in the rain and in the mud and take care of these people who are basically being trapped in there because they're not being told what the road is like.
I think Mike will share that with Ms. Eldar.
The Las Cañas where Jake's ranch is like this. And these people come in with a 4-door pickup with an 8-foot bed and a 35-foot camper, and that's as far as they get. Okay? Can't make that. I don't even like to make that with my truck and a 14-foot stuff trailer. It's just dangerous, but they get in there with that long stuff and there they are. And then, you know, we got bulls running around, there's rattlesnakes running around, and then there's a big problem. So I'd like to know where to send these people when they come sitting at my gate laying on the horn till I do something. But anyway,
Ms. Harris, Commissioner Duggins had something.
So you covered quite a bit of, I don't know, negativity really. And I did have several long conversations with you.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you, I guarantee you I'm elected, but I'm not a punching bag.
good. I'm
And
glad
you
to
need
hear
to
that.
understand that.
That's good.
And that road that was graded at your house or your deal out there, because I requested it, our manager was out of office. It wasn't a thing about it just happened right before the meeting. No, you contacted a commissioner and I did what I could.
And you did an excellent job and I
Well,
appreciate it.
I didn't hear that, but I hear it now. And you say that it's advertised all over the place, that it's a good road, highway, whatever. This county government does not advertise that, right?
I'm sure
So you need to find out no. I said, I'm not your punching bag. Whoever wrote that letter or is advertising it, there's where you need to go. And the BLM, well, take it up with the BLM. You're throwing mud at us when it's not our doings. And I don't appreciate it. I'm speaking for myself. But I guarantee you, we had this talk. And I'll leave it at that. And hey, look, how far is your ranch from the Escondido Bridge, from the river? How far is it?
from the bridge, about 8.5 miles.
Don't you think that buying a ranch on 8 miles of dirt road or 8 miles away from, some of this is to be expected?
All of it is to be expected. My problem is all the people that I have to crawl around under their cars and drag out. It's got nothing to do with me. If you never pave it, if you never fix it, it's okay with me. Just keep the public away. That's the problem.
Excuse me, but I think we have a process that we're gonna follow. And try to solve it. Commissioner Secretary, you had something? Okay.
Disregard that.
Again, thank you. Commissioner. Jesse. Thank you. The next item is item B, consideration of Valley Sanitation request, reduce convenience center operation hours.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, Manager Hogg. We've done some research and collected data over the last couple of years of the service we provided. And I would like to first bring up, we would like to restructure our piping for the roll-off dumpsters. I'm not sure if you got this in a pocket.
We did.
I did.
Okay, so what we'd like to do is, an all-inclusive price on our dumpster. Right now, we list every item from the dumpster rental to the number of tons that it costs for tipping fees. And we'd like to make that just a flat rate, up to a certain amount of tonnage. So it's not necessarily a price increase, it's just a more an inclusive price. Because what we found with a lot of our customers is, when you see line item after line item on our invoices, it's kind of discouraging. And but the total price hasn't really changed. It's just they kind of have a better idea up front what their cost will be if they have budgets, and they can better budget for their projects. And I think I highlighted on yours, those are really it's only going to affect the 30-yard and 40-yard dumpsters. We've already done inclusive prices on our two smaller dumpsters, the 15 and the 20-yard. And we went ahead and when our office manager, Daisha, she's the one that did it based on what's being used currently, the most, what's the most common amount of tons that people are getting rid of. The other thing we'd like to do is do a flat rate to Magdalena for the same reason, just so that the people there can budget better for their projects. And so we'd like to do a $150 charge flat rate to deliver the dumpster, and there wouldn't be a fuel surcharge added to that, which we currently do now. So right now we're asking to increase to do a price for the 30-yard dumpster with 3 tons included at $525. And if you look at the bottom, right now a 30-yard dumpster is $372, but does not include any tonnage. So that's paid separately currently. And for the 40-yard dumpster, we're asking to do an inclusive price of $675. And that includes 4 tons. And right now, if you look at the bottom, 40-yard dumpsters, $196, but does not include tonnage.
So they get 3 tons on the 30-yard, and anything above the 3 tons you would charge for?
Right. And like I said, most of our customers, 3 tons is about average on a 30-yard, and 4 tons is about average on a 40-yard dumpster. That's more or less what most people average. Some that do bigger projects like yard cleanups, they put a lot of dirt in with the brush and shrubs. They're usually the ones that go over. They go up to like 18 tons, some of them.
So,
Questions?
Right there where it says additional 15 days, I'm assuming that when you deliver it, they have 15 days and you gotta come back for it. If it takes longer, they're not ready for you to pick it up, and they get charged the additional $100.
Yes, that's what it's current now. There's no change made to that.
Commissioner Duggins?
Mr. Chairman, it's really hard to follow you. Miss Harris, it's really rolling in my ears over here. Nobody's trying to stop you from talking, but would you go around the corner, because we need to pay attention to this man.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'll get out.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had enough of it.
Go ahead, Harry.
So With that being said, we would like the commission to change, restructure our pricing for these 30-yard and 40-yard dumpsters, and for, as well as to do a flat rate trip charge to Magdalena.
Question, Commissioner Secretary.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I know that these are transfer stations that you guys have contracts with and whatnot. How would that affect Alamo, the Alamo area?
Alamo is so right now, Alamo, we would just leave the way it is currently. And that's the way that we've been doing it with these other ones. So we don't include tonnage for Alamo's dumpsters right now. So they would get charged $372 plus whatever their tonnage is.
So $372.
For a 30-yard dumpster, that would be an example.
Okay.
I think and the mileage going out. It's been pretty standard with them. It doesn't change really because it's the same consistently. So it hasn't really, nothing's really going to affect Alamo as far as an increase or change. The way we have it now, it probably is actually better suited for Alamo.
Is there a backup in terms of requesting dumpsters to be picked up there, or is it, or like, let's say if somebody calls, say, hey, our trash is 3/4, we're getting ready to get filled, or is there a wait time, or if they say, okay, hey, can we have 5 more days? Can somebody is somebody available to pick that up?
So we don't have, to be honest, we don't have too many call outs from residents in Alamo for dumpsters.
No, the transfer station out there.
I think as far best to my knowledge, they're on a schedule, is that correct?
They're on a bi-weekly schedule for Alamo schools, and then the chapter calls whenever as needed. They typically call a week in advance.
So if the chapter calls, in terms of, there are people available, or there are trucks available to go pick up the drop one off and pick one up, right?
Yes, yeah, we put them on the schedule right away, and if they need to be an expedited service, we try to fit them in sooner if they need it sooner than what's working for them. But we offer that to anybody that requests that as well.
Any more questions from Mr. Gil? Mike?
Thank you, Chairman Martinez, Commission. Larry, in the contract, there's no mention of tons. Is that something new?
No, I don't have, I think right. So what I'm asking for is not in the contract. The way it is currently being done is what's in the contract. So we would add a tipping fee on top of the dumpster cost. So what I'm asking to be done is to make it an inclusive flat rate price.
Is that, did the city start hitting you with the tipping fee or what?
Well, to be honest, no, there's not necessarily a price increase now. It's just, it's gonna be better for our customers to budget, because what ends up happening is we charge them for a 30-yard dumpster at $372. And that most of them pay up front, and then we send them a bill later for the tipping fees. So then we're sending them 2 separate bills, and it's hard to determine how much tipping fees are going to be. It's near impossible. We can guess, and sometimes the ladies in the office will sell them, have them pay up front. For some customers will pay for 4 tons of tipping fees up front, just so that they can budget for their projects.
How much is the tipping fee usually for one of those dumpsters? Do you think?
It's $45 a ton right now.
Yeah. So it's 507 versus 525. If you do the 3 tons, it's 372. That's 3 times 45 is 135. Plus the 372 is 507. So if the 3 tons in the flat rate, it's 525. So there is a slight increase, but
So what if it,
that's,
Wait,
thank you, Chairman. So how many tons are you gonna put up front on the one-time bill for the tipping fees? Is it always gonna be 3 tons? What if it's 2? And they already paid for 3?
Well, it would just be a flat rate, so the cost would be the same up to 3 tons. or
Up to 1 to 3 tons?
Right.
There's one price.
yeah, that's one price.
So what we did initially when we first set it up was that we would charge exactly what was being used. But to be honest, it's 3-4 tons. And these larger dumpsters, unless you're putting feathers in it, it's probably not gonna be anything 1 ton or less.
You're saying a 30-yard dumpster generally is 3 tons is the
Right.
average, right?
Right.
There's some, like, like Mike asked, if it's less, then obviously they pay a little more for it.
Right.
But if it goes more,
We just charge exactly what, so if it was,
if it goes like 3.5 tons, you're still
yeah,
just,
so we're gonna
just
charge,
you're not gonna
we're
come back.
charging for a half ton more.
You will charge them for the half ton,
Right.
and the customer will be aware of that and all that stuff.
Right, and then for some of our customers that have larger projects, we work with them on the tonnage.
On the ton. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So you're basing this on an average.
Right.
so let me get your reasoning and analogy there. So you want a base price that includes up to 3 tons. Sometimes there might be 2 or 1.8 or whatever, but they've already paid. But if somebody puts 3.5 tons in a 3 ton, they have to pay the extra.
Right,
So they eat the extra cost if they're shorter than 3 tons, but they're charged the extra cost if they're over.
right. I mean, if it was like, to be honest, I couldn't imagine that it came in at 3.3 tons that we would charge them for, bill them for 0.3 tons. I mean, I don't.
But I see the way I see it is, if you're gonna get a 30-yard dumpster, you're gonna probably put more than 3 tons. That's the way I see it. I've been doing this a little while, something like this, and
Yes.
if you're gonna get a big dumpster, you ain't gonna put a ton.
No, I'm telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
I have employees that fill up a dumpster and they'll, like you say, it looks like it's feathers, like it's full.
Right.
I said, no, that ain't my 3 tons. Just smash it down and then you get to the 3 tons, which you probably gotta go over.
Commissioner Dugan?
So you have, what is that yardage? So if I wanted to just use a ton, you have a smaller
So we currently,
container?
yeah, so we currently do this with our 2 smaller containers, which is in the contract. So for our 15-yard dumpster, the average is 2 tons is included. So anything more than 2 tons in a 15-yard dumpster, the customer would get charged for it.
So a customer wouldn't probably not get a 3-yard when they're only gonna use a yard. You have a smaller
Yes,
container, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right, but I mean, it doesn't jive with me like you say you want a flat rate. If I put 2.5 tons in it, I pay that flat rate. Goes over, then you're gonna charge over. That's no longer a flat rate. I mean,
Well,
if you're just making a flat rate average across the board, I think it should be just that, average across the board. If it's a little less, if it's a little more, that's the way I think of a flat rate of.
right, and
You didn't give a credit when it was lower than that, but I don't know, to me, it's like, well, you're
we were
stacking
talking
the
like,
deck a little.
so like, Mr. You and Mike are talking like less than 1% probably of anything that would be
Yeah.
less than what we're asking. I'm sure if someone,
And I don't mind the charge,
Right.
because wasn't the county charging like 500 back?
so we actually had, for the 30 and 40 yards, we just adopted what the county was already doing. We didn't make any changes to what the county was already doing at the beginning of it. And what's really hard, what makes it hard is it makes it hard for our customers to budget, because we get asked, well, how many tons is it gonna be if I fill up a 40-yard dumpster? I can't answer that. Are you filling it up with concrete? Are you filling it,
Well,
what are you filling it up with leaves?
well, if I was a customer and I saw this and I thought I had 3 tons worth of debris, I have 2 options to do the 3 tons. I either get the 20-yarder and it costs me $375, or I get that 30-yarder, it's gonna cost me $525. But if I get the 20-yarder and it's 3.5 tons, or let's just say you've actually got 4 tons in there, you're still gonna be money ahead, right? You see what I'm saying? I see what you're saying. In other words, you know what the average is, what they need.
Right.
You're putting it on the customer to make sure that they order the right container.
Some customers ask us to give a direction,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so that's what I do, is I kind of give them direction on what's best suited for what they're trying to get done.
you try to,
So I don't,
to your ability.
right, so I mean, if I think they could get away with a 15-yard dumpster, I don't try to sell them a 40-yard dumpster.
right.
Well,
But I still go back, flat rate.
I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Douglas. I guess my thing would be is if you go over, charge the flat rate, and it's just in the perfect world, everybody nails the 30-yarder 3 tons every time. Okay, and then the one time that they go over, whether it's 1% or 0.5%, they pay the extra. But on the other side of the scale, if it's either 1% or 0.5% that they're under, I think that should be adjusted accordingly. I mean, if it's that minimal, like you're saying, then I think from a business standpoint, it's not going to affect you that much. I think you said you did your research. This fits us. It's more of a bookkeeping thing for clarity for your customers. I think that's what I.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not opposed to adjusting it if someone has 1 ton in a 40-yard dumpster. I mean, they asked us to, I probably would, but that's not usually the case.
Right.
I mean, if we want to, that's what we're trying to do is let these people budget set a budget for their project. And it's hard to do when they're asking me how much I think how many tons it's gonna be for their projects.
Mr. Leyva, thank you again. I utilized the 30-yard for that lady for her house burned down. And when I went over there, when you delivered the dumpster, I told the young lady to fill it with the junk, the metal and the wood, not the adobes, because there was a big pile of adobes, and I said, it's really gonna go up on price. But I didn't know that the dump here in Socorro makes you separate it. I think that, like, for future, I would recommend that you give a flyer to get some and say, hey, can you put the last or fill it with just metal, because I'm gonna have to separate it over there,
We actually do. They get sent an email, and when the ladies give the quotes over the phone, they let them know the do's and don'ts with the dumpster.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do.
Well, it worked out for that young lady, and I appreciate it. I had to pay the tipping fee, but a lot of stuff got rid of.
Mr. Chairman, if I might now, I like your service. It wasn't jiving with flat rate. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but
I guess so.
you do a good service. And I'm good with a flat rate, but also now while you're here, and appliances, refrigerators and things like that, how do you get rid of them? I mean, how would I, as the customer, get rid of them?
So you would call and schedule a pickup for it, and we go in a separate truck to pick that.
It's not a thing of the customer going to your transfer station, like there in Bovadera.
We do accept them there as well.
You do?
Yes. That's actually.
Is there a additional charge, or is that covered under your charge for the?
So if you take it, I think if you take the appliance to one of the collection centers, it's $10 fee. If we pick it up, I think we have in the contract, it's a $50 fee. But what we've been doing is scheduling pickups on same day and only charging $15 or $20 instead of $50.
Would tires fall in that same category? Like
Yes, there's a fee, a separate fee for tires as well.
And you would get rid of them, the customer would get rid of them to you the same way?
Yes, but tires is, we're limited on how many we can take depending on the landfill, what they will pay. And that's both the Socorro landfill and the landfill off Highway 6. So sometimes we refuse to take tires.
One more question from me, Larry. On the schedule for opening the sites, San Antonio is only one day?
No, so this was another adjustment I would like to make. Same thing, now that we have the point of sale systems at all the collection centers, we're able to take data. And right now, Baguita and Polvadera are open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday. And what I'm asking is to open Baguita for 2 days a week, Friday and Saturday each week. And for Polvadera to be open Friday and Saturday for 2 weekends out of the month. And then for San Antonio right now, it's open 3 days a week. And I'm asking it to be open once a month, one Saturday a month, the first Saturday of the month.
You're not getting the usage there?
No, to be honest, in all honesty, even if I was to open San Antonio one Saturday a month, it still wouldn't pay for itself.
So right now you open 12 days a month and you're cutting it down to one?
Right.
You said 3, wow.
And that's based, so like, Baguita and Magdalena, they bring in the most revenue. And Magdalena only being open 2 days a week is just almost near the same as Baguita being open 5 days a week. So this will better let us utilize our resources in other places of the business. And right now our tipping fees are going up in July. So what we're hoping to do with this is we're gonna have to ask for an increase on our rates at the station. So if this is granted, then we wouldn't have to ask for so much of an increase when it comes that time in July. And this is, I just want to remind, this is convenience for the people and our residents of service. And I think sometimes what we forget is that convenience is expensive. So we're trying to do our best to keep the cost, where it could still be somewhat affordable. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the better ways without just increasing the price to keep it open 5 days a week when most people would adjust to these changes in the schedule.
So,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
sorry, question. So you're gonna reduce Magdalena every weekend, every Friday and Saturday to the first and third, even though it's the bread and butter pretty much for.
Well, so not one of these transfer stations, not one of them pays for themselves. Not a single one of them does. So the adjustments I made is so that at least if the adjustment in schedule, they would at least break even. I still don't think even with these adjustments that they actually bring any profit in. This is just to keep it for those people that don't want a curbside type of service.
Mr. Chairman, on that note, so those people that don't want the curbside service, give me a rough percent of how big is that group that don't want your curbside service? Because the reason you don't have much business at your transfer station is because you do the curbside service, right?
I would say that does have an impact on it.
You think half the people do the curbside?
Probably, I'd say,
70%.
yeah, I say 70%.
Well, and some of these people in Magdalena, they live out of Magdalena. They live in the ranchettes or out there. So that's why they bring their trash to the transfer station. So I don't know if they've approached the village, and the village might not want to go that far, to go pick it up.
The village, I thought they picked it up.
No,
No,
not the one at the transfer station. These are people that live in the ranchettes or out of town. The village picks the trash from the citizens in town. They have dumpsters and they go and pick them up and take it. But my only thing is the convenience for the people being able to throw their trash and accommodating as much as we can. You're showing us that you're not making, well, you're saying that you're not making any money on it. So I don't know.
I mean, the alternative is we just ask for an increase that would break even too.
Yeah,
This would minimize that increase.
well,
Have you talked, I'm sorry, sir.
go ahead.
Have you calculated in terms of the increase then in regards to
Well, just,
one of the possibilities?
so right now we're at $5 a yard. For the people that take their trash to the collection centers. So I think with the rates going up by the end of the year for the tipping fees, when we come back and ask for our rate increase, probably in May or June, it's gonna go to $10 a yard with this schedule here.
From 5 to 10.
And what would it stay at? What would you ask for? Or what would you ask for if you change the schedule, you think?
No, that is if we change the schedule.
Okay, and if you don't change the schedule, what would you be asking for?
It'd probably be between $15 and $20 a yard. And we do it in half yard increment, right?
Mike, go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Chairman Martinez, Commission. So Larry, the county definitely feels your pain. That's exactly why we went up to or bid on the services, because the county was hurting every year fiscally. But when I asked the commission to consider doing that, I had graphs to plot out what you're promulgating, because I was promulgating. So I'd actually like to see graphs, either graphs or pie charts showing what your expenses were versus what they are now, and how that would validate what you're asking for.
We have that.
So that way the commission could say, oh yeah, it's very verifiable that you need to do this, because they have constituents that they have to answer to. That why is my transfer station in San Antonio only open once a month when the county used to have it was 3, 4, 5 days a week? You know, you had personnel there, and I had to do graphs in charts and show them where our expenditures were and what we would have to start doing to even try to even not even come close to breaking even. So I'm just the manager asking the commission to consider, and I think you have a very valid concern, but I think the commission would like to have it on file, so that way they can reference it when constituents come to and say, why did this happen? Well, you know, the almighty dollar, that's exactly why the county went out and Valley Sanitation got the exclusive contract. So I'd like to see that we have validation.
Yeah, that's not too much to ask for. We actually have all that data. So we can put it in a graph or a chart like you requested.
Mike, so your recommendation is to table this until you can provide these charts to us?
If I might add to that, I think that maybe the way to go is to, for the next agenda or whenever it's ready, or whenever it's ready, is to propose, we have to have a contract amendment before us. So if you guys can propose that and send it to me, I can take a look at it and revise it, because you have to amend the contract, but you want to see the charts first and get those to them as soon as possible so they can consider whether or not that's, what they would like to do. And then that's how we would do it. 'Cause they can't just authorize a change. The contract has to itself be amended.
Okay.
Which is not hard to do, but I think the sooner you get them the information so they can talk to their constituents, the better.
Okay. Would that be the same for the
Yes, both of them have to be, we have to have a contract amendment.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I think that it's worth noting too that the county did charge $500 for these big dumpsters, right? Back 5 years ago or something, whatever it was. And your charge is less than that today, and even with going forward.
We've tried to just maintain the same, so that it's affordable right now, so
But it's more affordable today than it was when the county had it. Is that not right, Manager Hawks? I mean, didn't we charge 500?
I believe that was the rate.
So I mean, the public, the people, when they come in and complain to you or us or whatever, that's where noting,
And to be honest, the reason why I'm not asking for the increase now in the is because we're trying to leave it the way it is now for as long as we can. So I mean, our rates for the tipping fees won't go up till July. So then we won't ask for the changes to be made until our rates go up.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, if you just consider San Antonio twice a month instead of once a month, just submit to graphs.
Yes, no, I'm up for negotiation. This was our probably best case scenario without closing San Antonio down. But we're not opposed to any recommendations or suggestions.
well, we heard the recommendation from the manager and our attorney. And Mr. Leyva is in agreement to provide those charts and bring it back to the commission to amend the contract if we do decide and raise the rates and change the schedule.
So we need Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion that we table it until the manager's office receives the charts and gets your paperwork referred to the county attorney. And so the motion would be contingent on those two things, right? And then we'll bring it back for a vote in the commission. So there's my motion.
Motion by Commissioner Evans,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Leyva.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners, Manager.
Gentlemen, want to ask for another change on the agenda, if I may. Adrian, I would like to move item C also. Can I do that?
Sure, it's up to the board, absolutely.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to move item C next, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, okay, now we go to item C. Consideration of direction to staff regarding the special zoning districts proposal. Mr. Sandoval.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, how are you?
Good.
At the last meeting, I was given recommendations that Attorney Adrian Nance had come up with on behalf of the county manager. Our commission meeting met the following day, and after consideration of all the recommendations, the abate the Sabinado zoning district agrees with all the recommendations made in that proposal. Okay, I did, as I stated at that meeting, as soon as I would have information from our commission, from the zoning commission, I would send out at least an email to verify that, and I believe that got sent to, I sent it to you, I think, Adrian, and to the county manager, and I tried to send it to you, Commissioner, Chairman, but your email got rejected, so.
Really?
I apologize for that. All it simply said was that I would be making a formal presentation, official in writing acceptance of the recommendation. So I have some here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Oh, that's already. No way.
Hold on.
I usually have them here, I don't know what happened.
Mike, did you have a chance to review this, your neighbor?
I think this is what Adrian sent him, I think.
Yeah, it's the one that Adrian sent.
Yeah, so if, Mr. Chairman, it was the recommendations that I had sent, and then the commission needs to give, so they're in law. I mean, they basically stated that they're good with the recommendations. However, they're still recommendations, so you all have to decide whether you're good with them or you would like to change them. Because they are, they're recommendations. So the recommendations basically are,
I have it here. You want it?
I've got it right here, sir. Yeah, no problem. Basically, the current rate for the community is $45 an hour, and I explained that this board can charge the current rate. It can give it for free, or it can give some amount that that would cover the cost of utilities. My thought out of midair was $50. Was $50 annually. I'm not sure that's right, but I was an uneducated guess. But also my recommendation is that, what's that?
$50 a year, they mean how?
$50 a year.
How long they use it?
Utilities is that?
Just for when they turn the lights on.
A year?
Well, that's why
I mean.
Okay.
I have no idea what it would be.
How often do you meet?
Every second and fourth Wednesday of the month.
That's pretty cheap, no? And if the mayor supposed to go up out of the city, out of the.
The mayor.
Okay,
Well, there's an electric co-op that's going on.
That doesn't affect it.
Oh, it will if they pull the city out of the co-op.
Oh, you mean for the,
Isn't there some?
But the rural people will probably have to pay a whole lot more, right?
Yes, you can let them use it for free if you want, or come up with a price that makes more sense, which that's Mike's department. I'm not very good at prices, by the way. I also, my recommendation is that they get the required insurance. And then the other is that we have a link and a map on our website, to theirs, which would help out our constituents, who live in that district.
so it's $50 a year.
Well, that's what I put down. That's your call. You can give it for free. You can charge the actual cost. The actual cost, which is $45 an hour, or you can do anything in between.
Okay. $50 a year, insurance.
For sure.
What was the other one?
That's it. Website presence, that we put a link to, that says this is a special zoning district. The county of Socorro does not do zoning, but if you live in this district, these are the people to contact, and here's a map of it. And that way, with a disclaimer that makes clear that the county is not zoning anything.
Okay,
But, Mr. Chair, other people, if I want to have a Save the Wolf meeting over there, I'm going to pay more, right? So, first thing I'm going to say is I want his price. I just think everybody should pay the same.
Well, the wolf people.
Well, I just
You
use the
mentioned-
wolf. I hope you get
Yeah.
run over on the way to down, but
Okay, I'll just ask Adrian.
Well,
Not the wolf people. Are the Boy Scouts considered another government entity?
No, the Boy Scouts legally, according to the Attorney General, have to pay $45 an hour.
So they fall under another government entity, so that's the answer to that one, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know.
It's completely within the discretion of the board.
Everybody ought to pay the same.
so what is the recommendation of the commission?
Pay the same as everybody.
Joe,
I'm gonna make the motion to approve it as presented itself.
Okay.
And then that's my motion. If we get a second, then that's the rigmarole, and if we don't, then there's another one, and then we go down that. Okay.
What do you think, Manager Hawks? Your office is the one that's gonna get the phone call.
Chairman Martinez, Commissioner Duggins. I appreciate county attorney's
Generosity.
generosity and political correctness, I guess. On the other hand, it's up to me to try to pay the bills. So I wouldn't be heartbroken if we, said $45 a month. That's 2 meetings. That's counting water, sewer, utilities. I think we'll probably break even. We might even take it, spend money on it, because then we still have to maintain it. There's all maintenance fees. That's why we have facilities maintenance. We're not even charging them for that. So,
I guess that's a good question.
yeah, so when you take all that into account, it costs money to have those places, even if nobody's in them. So I would probably ask the commission to consider $45 a month. That's with two nights a month usage, right?
Yes.
And I think that's reasonable. That's that counts everything the county has to do, because we're responsible for, even though they have insurance, we have to carry our insurance on it. That's another fee.
Who cleans it?
We do. So
I mean,
we do the maintenance. If we have a water leak, we do the.
Yeah.
So that's where I would probably say $45 is, we're gonna eat some money, but at least
we're helping out.
we can help out the government entity, and then we have an explanation to other people who want to rent it, where we're charging a different fee.
Well, you heard the recommendation of our manager and Commissioner Gonzalez. Need a motion for that paying $45 a month, provide the insurance and a link to the county.
Did Commissioner Gonzalez make a motion first or no?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get a second, so it died.
So, okay, so,
So I'll make the motion for Manager Hawks' recommendations.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved with those recommendations. And now, when you guys have meetings, if you could do us a favor, sweep it up a little bit if it gets kind of dirty.
Well, yes, sir. Every time that I personally have rented the hall, okay, we always have to clean it and take care of the space.
Okay.
Forget the windows,
No.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask for something else, away from this whole thing. Along with Ken Armijo, myself, and Gene Carvajal, we kind of manage that hall when we go on a rotating basis. Set of keys are passed around to open up a place and close it down and everything. We've noticed a few things like maintenance. You mentioned sweeping up. It needs at least once a year, a very thorough cleaning. okay, sweeping up the place and taking out the garbage to Mr. Labus, disposal out there. That's all plain and good, but cobwebs in the corners of windows on the outside, and I mean, that it's, my wife, last time we rented the place for the meeting that they had for our church, we had to go around cleaning the windows that Doug said, okay, and if you can do, the county could just do that once a year, a thorough cleaning, it would. I don't speak for the commission here, I'm speaking as a person who rents the place. With the change in the cost, this is something I'll take to our commission at tomorrow's meeting and accept or not accept the $45. If we don't accept it, then we'll probably have to find another place. So, or if we do accept it, then we're in business.
Okay,
Okay, sound good?
thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, gentlemen, the next item is approval of minutes of January 6, 2024.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve, second by Commissioner Duggins. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes of January 6, 2024 are approved. Down, Mr. Amico, thank you for doing it. Committee and department reports. Detention center, you saw the report in your packet. Any questions from it?
No.
Okay. Acknowledge manager's report. You guys see the packet? Did you see the nice canopies in San Antonio Park?
I gotta complain about it. Tanto dinero.
Well, it's something that's,
I mean,
looks a lot better than what it did.
you can't please everybody.
No, it's, anything else, Mike, that you wanna?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Martinez, Commissioner. I did want to add that we are going to have the bid opening for the next phases of the San Antonio Flood Control Project. That'll bring all the projects up to speed. I mean, for that San Antonio project. We just closed, I think we did substantial completion on the other phases not too long ago. The only one that will be lacking after this will be phase one, which is the BLM purchase. And that's the biggest one because it has the retention pond and everything. That takes the most funds. And I think we have plans to try to ask Colonius for an extension, but we don't know if we'll get it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, let's see. Oh yeah, there's legislation going on in at the state legislature regarding paid family medical leave, and I guess they did some calculations where what it would cost different counties, and our contribution would be $18,040.34, which is not too bad considering annually. So that's not too bad actually when you take into account that FMLA is mandatorily used concurrently with other paid leave, and it's 12 weeks, and there's other qualifying events. You have to work 1250 hours in a year, and you have to have a year's service. But with that, family medical leave is unpaid leave, but it's used concurrently with other paid leave. So some people will run out of their paid leave, but they won't lose their job because they have some family medical leave, but they didn't have a way to pay their insurance or stuff like that unless generous employees from the county pitched in. So I think, I think that's a positive piece of legislation that could come forward. So if you get a call from your senator or representative, I I think $18,000 is pretty cheap for some employee benefits.
But we're fine.
I'm sorry.
We're 5 employees.
I think the last time I looked, we were hovering around, we always hover between 113 and 121, so.
Can we make a bet? I better be double in 2 years.
Green chili cheeseburger.
All right.
What?
And also, I saw the email that you sent, that PHI, air,
Yes.
you approved to pay that for all the county
Yes,
residents.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
I could have,
Oh, sorry.
I could have approved it with my signing authority, but I wanted the commission and certainly your constituents to know what this commission does that is not mandated for you to do to serve the people in this community, supplying airlift, free airlift, and we're breaking up the bill is pretty substantial. So I wanted it to be on the commission meeting.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from Mike? Commissioner? Okay, commissioners report. Commissioner Aguilar,
Not this time, sir.
Commissioner Secretary.
I do have a question for Manager Hawks.
Did you have something?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The what?
Come and talk.
Bring it.
I'm sorry, Lee.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Sheriff report.
You do
It's
that.
important, I'm gonna ask for money.
You can do
Let him do it.
You get it.
Okay, we're gonna continue.
Let's get it.
Just kidding.
Chairman Martinez, commissioners, good evening. To talk about today, I'll start off with the good news. We did have a good bust yesterday. We did a bust in Magdalena again. We got Gary Payne. We did find him with a fair amount of fentanyl pills and some methamphetamine. Unfortunately, we weren't able to incarcerate him because he claimed that he had some problems anyway. And, so we did get him. That's the two big ones in Magdalena we've gotten. And hopefully we get some more out of there. So another thing is we do have 4 openings. We lost one deputy this last week. He had personal reasons. He had personal reasons and he resigned. Which keeps us with, we have 4 openings and it is hard to recruit. There was a time when we'd have 4, 5, 6 people every time we put out a position, and now we get 3 people in and none of them show up to do the run. It's been difficult. I would suggest in the future, it's something for you guys to really think about is to recruit. We're just not getting the people from Socorro. We're gonna have to start recruiting outside of town even more. There might be a time when I come to ask you if we can have people where they can take home vehicles to Las Lunas or to, probably no further than that, but something like that. It's getting difficult. And it's not just Socorro, it's all over the state really. With the pay raises that places like San Juan County, APD, and the New Mexico State Police they're fixing to get a 15% raise to go to starting $38 an hour. I just don't see us being able to hire anybody. You've got, everywhere around us. I know I got a raise, but everybody around the state is getting other big raises. I don't have an answer as to what we can do to even the city police who just got a tremendous raise. They just got another 5 to something like that % raise on top of what they just got. I don't know how to compete with that. I feel like I'm always asking you guys for something, and
I don't know what the answer is. It's something that I'd like for you guys to think about what we can do to get capable law enforcement and keep them in our community. I think we have a good base at the sheriff's office right now. We have some smart guys that make good decisions, and they have a lot to share with people and teach them the right way. It's going to come a time where I'm absolutely going to have to, and it's probably going to be sooner rather than later, that I come and ask you guys to see what we can do about getting a competing wage. We just got a really amazing pay increase, but unfortunately, we're still not competing. That's just something for you guys to think about, because I will be coming up with some numbers soon. I haven't even had a chance to talk with the manager about it to see what his ideas were. It's just something that, we went up and we talked with all the sheriffs for the affiliate meetings there in Santa Fe for the Association of Counties. We're not competing. And now everybody else is going to go again on top of what they just went up just to compete. And it's difficult. And that was a big complaint that we talked with the Secretary Bodie about.
Is that still the good news?
I started off good.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, so can you relate your problem with recruiting to the governor's law on, what was it, to allow these lawsuits?
Oh, you're talking about liability.
Directly to the officers, I mean, is there a relation? It'd be nice to see like a graph or something that we could.
To actually do a draft, I think that the fact is smaller communities are suffering because why would they want to come work for us and have our no qualified immunity when they can go make $20 more an hour?
Right.
At another agency.
Because of that bill, they had to pay the other $20 because they couldn't get them either.
Yeah.
It all comes down to money, and if the police officer is putting his own worth at risk, that's why they paid more. So, I mean.
I think there's has a lot to do with a lot of things. People don't want to be in law enforcement because our media is looking at every bad thing that law enforcement is doing and only putting doubt out there, right? So people say, I want to be in law enforcement because I'm going to get sued or they're going to make me look bad if I make one bad decision. When anything happens, and we're getting IPA requests for everything, right? That every lawyer is out there right now looking for a reason to sue law enforcement and the municipalities and the communities. It's just it's almost a lose-lose situation anymore.
No, but
so I think that has a lot to do with it. There was a time when law enforcement was a celebrated job and all the kids wanted to be a police officer, to be the hero. And now we're not seen as heroes anymore because of a few bad apples that really, that's all that the media wants to show us, right? Is that one bad guy did everything, so now all law enforcement is corrupt. And when the reality is, when it comes to law enforcement, less than 1%, it's more like 1% of 1% of law enforcement is corrupt. But all you see is that one guy, right? And it makes national news every time. So, and even the guys that aren't corrupt, but that make a bad decision against their training. And everybody's flawed. We all make bad decisions and we all make mistakes. It's just some people make worse mistakes than others, and that's what comes out. Rather than when you see that one officer who has a family that broke down on the highway and he pays for 2 nights of a motel room. You can hear that, but it happens every single day. I've seen my guys do it, and they don't tell anybody. They just do it. but that's not what you hear about.
Is there a limit on the liability? That's probably
Yes.
there is.
There's a limit on how much they can sue for.
The individual officer,
Yeah.
there's a limit? Is
Well,
that
yeah,
true?
but our county would have to pick up that wage. I think it's what I've understood, right? The county's gonna
$2
pay for
million,
it.
but it goes up with every year with the consumer price index. So next year it'll be $2.2 million.
Yeah.
So, and you know, there's a lot of reasons, but a big reason is a lot of the bigger places are getting paid really good money. I lost one of the best cops I've ever worked with in my life because he's making $50 an hour right now as a street officer. You know, like, how do we compete with that? That's $30 more an hour. And I know in the foreseeable future, at least in my term, or luckily enough, a term after that, we're gonna never see $50 an hour. But it's just how do we compete with that? And that's something that we really have to think about, you know, because I can think about it, but it's gonna take, you know, better mind to come up with an answer. Some like Manager Hawks and you guys to really think about what we could do. You know? I can come up with some ideas, but I think your ideas would be just as good as mine.
Yeah, your vacancy rate as far as a percentage, is it, and compare even Bernalillo County, I'm sure they have they have empty seats even if they're paying, I wonder.
Yeah, Bernalillo County, but they get paid tremendous.
But is their
$37 an hour.
vacancy rate still within ours?
You know what, I can speak, I can assume, because I know around the state as a whole, it's hard to recruit law enforcement.
Yeah.
But I think it's not as bad in those agencies that pay, you know, because you figure they're making, we'll say right now, state police is making, I think, $34 an hour, something like that, starting. Plus they get overtime, so they're all making over about $100,000 a year. So that's what my guys are kind of banking on right now, is they work a lot of overtime to survive. But that doesn't, it takes them away from their family. A lot of these guys are young men and they have young kids. And so you get these guys that are working 6 days a week. Well, they're missing that's how I made it growing up at the sheriff's office. Started off making $9 an hour. I had to work almost 7 days a week just to be able to afford to have a family. So it's hard. It's something to think about. I'll move on with that and let you know that I've been talking with some of the other sheriffs, and we are in the works of starting. We're in the talks. Let's say we're talking now about starting putting our investigators together to start taking over the investigations of officer-involved meetings. Instead of having state police do that, we're gonna come up with our own co-op and do it for each other, which is we're talking with Doña County, Sierra County, ourselves right now, but we're gonna branch that off to some other counties and start working together on training our guys, our detectives anyway, investigators to be able to start doing those investigations. We're also talking about doing and I think I mentioned this before, a task force together between those same counties for narcotics, helping each other out. And more recently, I've been talking with Sierra County about a TAC team, a special purpose team. This is something that before I even, we're in the talks, but before that, I'd like to sit down with the county attorney and the manager and see what kind of liabilities that would bring on us and what kind of cost that would cost us. Some of it could be, some of the cost could be taken by some of these junior bills money that we're getting and some of the other grants that we can get for the TAC team. But I think right now it's pretty important because in certain situations, it does take state police 2 hours to get here. If we do have this co-op with Sierra County and get some of our guys trained, it'll take a lot less than that to get stuff done. And in any kind of situation like that, if you have a hostage or every second, could save a life, right? And the longer it goes, the worse it's gonna get. We had a situation in Magdalena where they weren't sure where a guy was. State police just refused to come out and help us. Right? Sierra County said, we'll be right there. Fortunately, they got it remedied before they were able to get here, but with a TAC team, you get stuff like special equipment. They have balls that they throw through a window and have 360-degree view. It has thermal, so you throw it in a dark room with smoke in it, and you're still going to see everybody that's in the room. And there's just all kinds of pretty cool toys that they have there that can save lives. And so that's something that we're talking about. And we've got some young men in our department, our office, that absolutely excel in that. We have some former Marines and military guys that are squared away. And so that's something that we're talking about. And before I go too much further into that, I'd really like to sit down with the attorney and the manager and give their thoughts on this whole situation. So, something else.
That bad news.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The bad news is I need a rate. I appreciate you guys, and I know a lot of times I'm not coming here with the best of news, but it's just, man, everything is just going so quick as far as other agencies and pay and stuff. It's like, man, all right, we just made a huge step. Well, guess what? Now we're 2 steps behind. We're not 3 steps. I don't know. Again, I don't know the answer on how to make things better, but when it comes down to it, I am going to probably this next commission meeting really have a discussion with you guys and maybe put it on the agenda about being able to recruit from surrounding communities and come up with a way that to make it where people want to come work here. Right now in all the surrounding communities, most of them close by, they're getting paid a little more, but they're still having a hard time recruiting. I don't know. I think right now Sierra County is at full staff. I know Valencia County, they're a few short, and they get paid pretty well. I don't know. I know the city PD. I just talked to their chief. They're 2 down, and they're rookies. They're just coming in, are making almost $27 an hour. So it's like, wow. If they're not able to fill their guys in that, it's going to be difficult for us too, And they're letting their guys fly back and forth from Albuquerque and Las Vegas. So how are we going to be able to better get a good, capable law enforcement agency that they're not just going to come here, get their certification, and then go off somewhere else? How are we going to keep these guys? And I think we're already in a good start. You guys pay so well on our insurances and our retirement stuff. You guys do, But unfortunately, so do a few other places surrounding us, and they're getting paid really well. I don't know. I'll try and come up with some ideas, and I'll get with the manager, and hopefully he can help me find out some ideas on how to do it. We'll bring you some good news.
Mr. Chairman, on that ideas, really though, if there was a way to show a graph of the vacancy related to this wall, if you had that on paper, could you then take this to Santa Fe, the governor's desk, and say, this is what it costs us to do what you signed? I mean, you know what I mean?
We get the same responses we did on the.
Well, I know, but I understand that, but, well, I don't know. You don't take no for an answer. You just keep, I don't know what to do.
I know. I'm in the same boat. I mean, I wish we could go up there and just show them all of our problems and then miraculously.
But that's about all you can do, and maybe there'll be a change for the better over there, but without that fact sheet, I
can come up with some facts on.
Like across the state, like other sheriff's department, could you not work together. I don't know how that stuff is done, but they want to see paper proof, you know?
You know, the Sheriff's Association has really been trying to work on.
But you don't want you guys in business.
Yeah, you know, I could talk to the other new president of West North and see what we can do. We talked, Brody's there. The other day, I felt bad for him. We ran out of time. We went over an hour and a half, you know, talking to him. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. Just something, just food for thought for you guys. And I know everybody needs money. I know roads and solid waste and everything is crucial, and you guys have so much on your shoulders, and I'm putting a big heavy toll on you because I know how much you guys value the sheriff's office, and I wish I had answers for you.
Chart. We make Mr. Laban have a chart to show us. I just think that would be a really good start.
I don't know how I can make a graph on that. I'd have to get with the manager and the attorney and see how we can figure out. And it is new,
It's
right?
gotta be
It happened a year
possible.
ago, so I don't know. All I know is it is hard to get people.
Why would you? If I wanted that job and somebody paid me an extra 20, I'm still not interested. Money is not gonna fix all that problem because it's just not, if I'm gonna be sued in a difficult job anyway, I'm not interested.
Well, Sheriff, I don't know if Sheriff Baker from Sierra, he gave a presentation to the associates of the commission at the meeting. And he had all those charts. And he got that information from the police reports that each police department turns in, you know, when there's a shooting or where this. He said that there's some, and he said the state police is not good at turning in those reports, the data to track it. But he showed the charts. He did a very good job. He said, this is the problems that is happening. These are the solutions that need to happen. These are not, shouldn't be partisan decisions, he said. The need is there with all the crime and everything that's going. These charts show what's going on and why is it going on. That's the legislatures, the governor, everybody that has some say-so in the money should be looking at this and funding those areas to be able to prevent it. He said, I know I'm gonna lose people. The state police is gonna get another raise, he said, a big raise. You know, I can't compete with it, he said, you know, and they've already gotten 2 or 3 raises. Fine, he said, that's good. But you need to look at the county sheriffs, the cities, everybody needs to kind of help out in order to pay that. In some counties, they don't have the money. The ones that are paying the big money have the money. And it's a big issue. And I asked him for that printout, and the chair of the affiliate for the commissioners, he's supposed to send it to all the commissioners. As soon as I get it, I'll send it to you, I'll send it to Mike.
Sheriff Baker is a really good friend of mine, and we work closely together, and I said,
Yeah.
So I'll talk to him about that as well. Well, again, thank you guys for your ear.
No, thank you. Thank you.
We will try and work on it together and figure it out. I know Manager Hawks probably has a million ideas or done what I can. Do what we can. We have to.
Looking down.
Absolutely. No, we're gonna keep going down. That's another thing. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is we've got some junior bill money from Senator Josh Sanchez, knows Cole County. Great guy. He's always out to help us, and I talked to him while we were up in Santa Fe, and I was supposed to go to his office, but he both got held up, and he did call and talk to Amanda, and that he's looking at possibly getting us, he's gonna work on trying to get a $200,000 for narcotics and stuff like that. But it's gonna be, the $200,000 is gonna last for 2 years. Because I think he's saying that the governor may be taking away the junior bills, which, man, that's gonna hurt us if that does happen. But he's gonna try and work on that. I think Amanda had talked to county manager about that a little bit.
I see.
And if it does go through, that would be great. And that would help us with equipment, for not only narcotics, but if we do come with a special purpose team, like a TAC team, investigation, equipment, stuff like that, that would be tremendous. We did give us $50,000 this year, and we're working on it, where that's what we're using to do our warrant raids and our drug raids. And man, it's, we could do it without it. It's really, really, really helping. I'm gonna talk to a couple of our representatives, see if they can help us out with a little bit of money for some training and stuff. We've been really sending, like, I know the last couple of times I've talked to you guys about our training, we've been really pushing out our guys to training. Training gives the people an absolute better product. The more training we can send our deputies to, the better they're gonna treat our constituents, the better product they're gonna get, the happier they're gonna be. We do have some good money for it right now that we've been using it. And not only that, but it's really, hopefully in the future with all this training, it'll really slow down the amount of lawsuits and stuff that are gonna be coming out of our agency. And that's one of the big goals, is to not have any more lawsuits. We did for a long time, then we had a bunch for a little while, and we're still thinking of it now, but hopefully that's not something we're gonna have to worry about in the future. Man, I've been talking to you guys there off, and I know you wanna go home, and I've gotta go pick up my grandson, so thank you guys so very much. Any other questions?
I'm just gonna make this short. I want you to know I did, Amanda sent me that info, and so I filled out the form and emailed it on the 200K. So they should have it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you have 2 grants that are outstanding and expire in June, so those definitely. The VSS I had already answered. The other, the narcotics and the 3 automobiles, I think.
Yeah, I did talk to Allison, and me and Sammy got straightened out.
Okay.
So anybody we don't, that we're, but we're still pushing the narcotics hard now. I have, myself, when the narcotics detective resigned, I started doing narcotics myself, and then along with Detective Padilla. And now I'm kind of, after I showed him how to do it and how it's supposed to be done, he's kind of taking the reins now. So I'll stick around and do some of it with him, but we're also going to be hiring another detective to replace the position that we're short. And that right there, those 2 guys will start running with it, and they're both absolutely capable, amazing detectives or officers. And then I can sit back and relax and watch them do it. So, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Colonel.
Commissioner Secretary.
Forgot my train of thought now. Several things. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This one's information for Mr. Manager Bocc in regards to the 3 Tanks Road. Has anybody responded from Napa Nation?
That's Chairman Martinez, Vice Chair, Secretary. It's amazing that you asked that. So we had just had an update, and you saw it in my manager's report. I reached out to Jamie Henyo, Virgil, everybody I could think of. I didn't really get any calls back, but I left messages. And then I asked DEC to reach out to their connection that they had hired to do the reports. And they just got a email that they just sent me actually this morning and I copied it over electronically to my file. Mr.
Huh? No,
Olson,
No,
Olson?
Fort Smith or something like that.
Oh, Sportsman?
Yeah, something like that. And so he acknowledged receiving everything and that he would start working on it. And so we're giving him until February like 15th, and we don't hear from him. That's all we're waiting for. That project's ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
That whole nation, if you know anybody.
Yeah. One of those correspondents, we had a name by the name, Mr. Olson, John Olson.
No, that's not the name that was on the email.
So he was contacted today, and he did find that packet. So I should get a reference number in terms of to see what the status on that is.
Nice.
So hopefully I can get something by the end of the week.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So
That's all.
I mean, just like you said, I mean everything's. I mean all the avenues that I tried in terms of just no return, and I saw one of those. I saw that name and I passed that name up, and sure enough, so hopefully, like I said, hopefully we get something by the end of the week.
I hope so. They've had it since September.
So that's one of them. Another one, Sheriff just left.
Maybe I can answer that.
Not the court, the peacemaking program for the courthouse. They're also doing another resource meeting in February, February 21st. Let's see what's going on. February 21st, 10 to 12. So I'm not sure if you're not around, most definitely we can talk, and most definitely I can bring by and see what's going on with that. Most definitely we'll probably ask, send a request out to the sheriff as well too. Hopefully this time Navajo Nation PD will be there. I know that's our biggest need out there. So so that's number 2. Number 3 was from Mr. Larry in regards to the transfer stations, but he was able to answer most of my questions. Thank you very much. And that's all I have, sir.
Just so you know, it was from Mr. White out of Navajo Nation.
White?
Defeat White.
Okay. Good.
Commissioner Duggins,
No, not for me.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Not at this time.
nada. Well, I provided Mike with some reports that he's gonna hand over to the Forest Service on stuff that we're trying to solve.
We meet with them on Thursday.
Yeah, okay. And on a positive side, I'd just like to mention this, we hear a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of bad things, a lot of things that shouldn't be happening. But today at the Albuquerque Journal, I saw an article of some of our boys that played basketball in Magdalena. There's 10 of them that are referees, and they're refereeing games and stuff. And that didn't happen just to happen. We have a coach that has coached these young men with his staff for a few years now. And out of those years, he's only lost 3 games in quite a few games. He was recognized Coach of the Year last year. And all these young men, you can see their smile on the thing. And to me, that's a positive thing. He's influencing these young kids, and we need to do that more. To me, that made me proud to see that. See that anymore.
It's a great program.
It's a great program, and I just wanted to make sure that he's very humble. He doesn't like to be recognized. He's like real humble to the side, but he's done a lot for the community, for the kids. So everywhere they go, the motels, they say they're well-behaved kids. And when they leave a basketball, they all sign it and give it to wherever they stay in the motel. So pretty good.
And they've always been good.
Well,
They beat us when I was a kid.
well, that's I just need to say that.
Yeah.
Because it's well worth it. Okay, public comment, do we have any? Jennifer?
No, there's no public comment.
Thank you. Okay, the other one is item D, approval of January 2024 detention center quarterly report.
Mr. Chairman, I put that on the agenda wrong. I apologize. It's Sandy Martinez's here to report.
VSS program.
Oh, okay.
That's a 25,000 grant that
Okay.
the commission authorized post trauma events.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't think this is working, but that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Thank you guys for letting me come. My name is Sandy Martinez. I'm the Director of Forensic Services with Valencia Shelter Services. So I kind of formulated a report for our first quarter. And sorry, I know you just talked about good things happening, but I'm gonna be a downer. I mean, our services are very important, but unfortunately, they're for victims of really violent crimes. We have, before I go into numbers or anything, I just want to talk about something that we achieved this quarter, and that was we were voted best nonprofit in Valencia County through the News Bulletin and through the Chamber of Commerce. So that was nice. We received some awards for that. And then some of the challenges is our SANE unit is a satellite unit of Albuquerque SANE, and we provide advocacy for our SANE patients that come in. And they're having some turnaround. We don't have a nurse right now at our facility through their program. So what we're planning to do is take over the SANE unit under our own agency and have a medical unit. We have a lot of support from our coalitions to do that, and we went to the legislative session last week to advocate for some money for that. And so our long-term goal for that is to be up and running by July of this year, and hiring a SANE nurse, a full-time SANE nurse that would be able to travel here to Socorro to do SANE exams for Socorro and Catron County. I think it would be easier for Catron County people to come here if we have a SANE that can come here. I have talked with the Department of Health. They have an exam room that we can use until we can try to find somewhere to open our own. But I would love to open a satellite office here in Socorro County in the next year or two, because we've seen a lot of Socorro this year in 2024. So far, we've had 7 forensic interviews from Socorro County, which is a lot. Mostly with New Mexico State Socorro Sheriff's Office. They have been referring a lot of things to us. So we're seeing increases, which is good. And then, so we did 5 forensic interviews in the quarter from October to December for Socorro County. Like I said, we've already had 7 this month for this quarter, so we're already past those numbers. We've had 1 SANE exam from Socorro County in that quarter. We've already had 1 this month for Socorro County come in. So, and then we do facilitate the multidisciplinary team for Socorro and Catron County. They're combined. And we served 6 children and 1 adult in those meetings. We reviewed the cases, and we've had some Socorro County cases go through district court, and there's been some convictions, so that's always good. getting those perpetrators off the streets. And then we've been continuing our professional relationship and rapport with Coffee de Luz and El Puente here in Socorro. They're very good partners of ours. They have the same goals and ambitions that we do. So we appreciate them for kind of helping us move our services into Socorro County because it's very needed here. Some of Socorro County does go to Sierra County for forensic interviews. So I know that sometimes it's easier for the families to go that way. But I know that the numbers are going to keep increasing. So that is mainly the report that I have. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
Commissioners?
All right, we will continue to provide good services and do more outreach to reach more people that need our help here.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question. Do we need to make changes reflecting the
agenda.
The agenda.
agenda?
We could, I did note it.
Which one's that?
D.
D,
Oh, it was a report for
VSS.
DSS, okay.
Yeah, quarterly report for VSS.
Okay. Can I have a motion to make that change?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Duggins, second by Commissioner Vilar. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The change is approved. The next item, E, consideration of MOA with the Village of Magdalena for Animal Control Services. Mike?
Chairman Martinez, Commission, in your packet, there's an MOU, it was drafted up by our community regarding an MOU to use our animal control officer when called upon. I think there was some analysis done of what the cost, and it's actually not the actual cost for the county. Actually, we shot it low, so we're trying to assist one of our sister communities. I believe it was $45.
It was 35.
35. So, but it's up to the commission if whatever they believe is reasonable or however they would like the MOU to state if there is any charge.
Do you know if it was it passed by Magdalena yesterday or?
I don't know.
They don't have an animal control right now.
They have nothing. A lot of dog problems.
There's a lot of dog problems in me. I would like to see if we could work something out. They provide something to us, like work together for us to be able to provide an officer. Like when we need water for the roadmen into the roads, or even mowing some of the county road going up to Hop Canyon, because we have to do that and they have a mower. That's just my recommendation.
You want my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tie it to it.
I like that idea. The only problem is the tracking of each one, you know. We do that with the city, but with actual dollars where we do this for this amount, they do that for this amount. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it might create some internal audit issues. Because then the auditors might want us to put a dollar amount to it, and then what we included in that dollar amount, and then how did we verify that with Magdalena with their dollar amount? I like that idea, but maybe the attorney might have the same concerns or not. I'm not sure.
We have an MOU with them for helping them with the roads, and they've never been a long time since they've used it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was that much of a cost. So. Well,
I agree. It'd be difficult to, I mean, unless you set out exactly what you're gonna trade for, which would be fine to say, whatever it is.
well, you guys have
1,000 gallons of water
You saw the MOU, commissioners? Need a motion to approve it? That's written.
So the city's accepting them as county on the one MOU with the city of the shell.
Yeah, we pay the city.
Yeah, we pay.
They would be, yeah, the MOU would be the, we would pay the city and then the Magdalena would have to reimburse the county for it.
Yeah. So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Secretarial. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved as written, the MOU with the village. Okay, item F, approval of PHI membership agreement with Socorro County. Here it is, Michael.
And Mr. Chairman, if you're gonna consider the agreement, I believe Jennifer sent out a supplemental agreement, which was my revisions to the agreement. I think we have to approve that one. The one they presented, is not, has items in it that we can't agree to constitutionally.
The PHI?
Correct. And actually, it's exactly what we agreed to last year. The one that I revised again, it's, I don't know why they haven't accepted those revisions as of yet, but if they're gonna wanna do the business with us, we're gonna have to do it under the
new agreement.
Under the way I drafted this.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the PHI agreement as revised by Attorney Nance.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The PHI membership agreement is approved with the new recommendations according to the attorney. Item G, acknowledge personnel changes. Who wants to do that?
I want to make a motion to approve the personnel changes as presented. It's Sammy Vega Finch, manager's office, temporary increase, discover manager, 2/01/12, pay period, effective 4/8/2024.
Okay,
I don't know why it says April, I think it's immediately.
oh, that's when it ends.
Well, that's what it is. Oh, I see.
Okay, gentlemen, need a motion to acknowledge personnel changes?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Aguilar. I'll second the personnel changes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We acknowledge the personnel changes. Okay, financial action, we can approve A and B as we've done in the past.
I make a motion to approve the payroll and accounts payable as presented. Payroll date December 28, 2023, date January 23rd, 2024, for the amount of $237,902.06. And accounts payable dated January 19th, 2024, in the amount of $1,870,507.36.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve both, second by Commissioner Secretarial. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Vendors checks and payroll checks are approved. We don't have, oh yeah, we do, no?
We do.
Executive session, I need a motion and roll call vote to go into executive session and that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute, Section 10-15-1, only the following matters will be discussed in closed session. A, real property. I, fire marshal office building purchase. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Chair Secretary, Commissioner Duggan,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chair Martinez.
Yes, and we are now in executive session. I need a motion and a vote to return to regular session.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Rivera,
President.
Vice Chair Secretarial,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Duggins, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chair Martinez.
Yes, ma'am. Items discussed in closed session were limited to specific in motion foreclosure and that no final action was taken as per New Mexico State Statute Section 10-15-1.
Need a motion to that effect, Mr. Chairman?
Motion to that effect. I'll make the motion. Second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Secretarial. What's up, brother? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Okay, action item, direction to staff regarding fire marshal's office building purchase.
Mr. Chairman, I believe a motion would be in order to direct the county manager to negotiate for the purchase of the building as directed in executive session.
You heard the recommendation from our attorney.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The manager will negotiate the purchase of the.
Either come back with the purchase agreement or not. More than the low. Magic beat.
Our next commission meeting is February 13, 2023 at 5 p.m. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Secretarial.
Oh, yes, I am.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 7:44.
Oh, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.